I told you last time around about some of the big watch-related mistakes I've made, but I'll be honest, I held back a bit. I wasn't ready to share everything. But it's been cathartic, so I'm back to air some more laundry in public. It's gonna get stanky, especially the last one. So back in the really early days of Watchfinder, when it was just a handful of us in a small office in Maidstone, I'd have a rummage through the daily stock intake and see if there was anything interesting to talk about. So one day there was this Vacheron retrograde day date, lovely thing in rose gold with a cream dial. I remember it so vividly. The reason I remember it so well, despite having a memory like a dried out dog turd, is because of what happened. I got the watch, and as always it was kept in a small bag, wrapped in foam padding. Thing is, back then they used to reuse the bags over and over, and they would fatigue a bit. So I picked up this watch in this bag, and off I went back to my desk to go and get a better look at it. Being the brainiac I am, and too excited to wait until I was sat down, I proceeded to open the bag as I was walking. I picked it up out of my palm where it was currently balled up to pull apart the pinched seal, and before you can say the bottom of the bag was split, I realised the bottom of the bag was split. How did I know the bottom of the bag was split? Because the £50,000 Vacheron had made a run for it through the gap, heading straight for the floor like it owed it money. Now, I'm reasonably tall, which didn't help, but to me it felt like I chucked the thing off the Empire State. It fell and it fell and it fell, and I just stared at it like I was hoping my undiscovered power of telekinesis was about to kick in. It didn't. The watch hit the floor like a lump of gold hitting thin office carpet. I stared at it some more, somehow hoping Russia had just so happened to order a nuclear airstrike on Maidstone at that precise moment, but no such luck. I picked the watch up, carried it like a baby bird back to my desk, and took a look at it. At first all seemed well, no damage to the case, hands all still hanging on, date pointer still between the range of 1 and 31. To my dismay, I realised this was not the case with the day. That had somehow invented an as yet unnamed new day, somewhere a few days after Sunday. The watch was fucked, and so was I. So, not content with merely destroying a very expensive and complex Vacheron Constantin, I thought I'd take a punt at seeing what other high complication watches I could render useless. This was at a time of great learning for me, expanding my knowledge with each passing shipment of watches. Back then, I didn't know Erlangensohn from my asshole, and so it was a very exciting time. Well, it would have been were I not a massive bonehead. One thing I like doing with complicated watches is to fiddle with them, see how they function. Why are these features here if not to fiddle with? Crown's got a twist, pusher's got a push, hidden or otherwise, so I could see the whiz-bangs whiz-bang and the doodads doodad. Hey, let the kid into the candy shop and he's going to eat the candy. Yes, I know I should have said sweets, but whatever. So in my grubby pause one day, I found myself holding a peak grand complication, the perpetual calendar. And not just any old perpetual calendar, but an IWC perpetual calendar. Owners of said watch will already be hiding under the covers because they've probably been idiots too. What's impressive about the IWC perpetual calendar mechanism specifically is that it's all set by the crown. The case isn't blistered by hidden pushers, one for each display in the perpetual calendar. It's all lined up and ready to go. Wind the crown clockwise, and it all ticks forward in perfect harmony. It's very impressive. The date and days tick along with each click, the months at exactly the right interval, including February, regardless of the leap year. It's pretty mesmerising. Mesmerising enough that I realised I'd gone too far. Only by a few days, mind. I'll just wind it back. Oh, it doesn't go back. Only forwards. No matter, I'll carry on forwards and come back around again. After much winding and 3 in-calendar years later, I knew I'd fucked up. Unless I was going to sit there for the next 40 days and 40 nights winding this thing forwards, I was not going to see today's date again. So, tail between my legs once more, I had to take the watch back and fess up. Anyway, turns out IWC will set it back free the first time you make that mistake, so at least I know I'm not the only Burke out there that didn't read the manual. Okay, so I've had enough of admitting to all the stuff I did wrong, so how about some of the things I didn't wrong? especially when, like a plumber whose pipes all leak, I didn't listen to my own advice. When I first discovered Moser, I was pretty pleased with myself. Barely anyone had heard of this resurrected brand, but having finally seen one in person, I was solidly convinced it was the real deal. Lovely design, unique features, beautiful movements. Very cool. I extolled the virtues of this watch to anyone who couldn't escape fast enough. I stopped by old folks' homes because they had no choice but to listen. Moser was the next Journe in my eyes, and I was 100% confident of that fact. One of the reasons I was so confident of that was because the residuals were so bad. They were like £5,000 on the secondary market back then, sometimes even less. To the poor sucker who discovered that after paying full price, it wasn't ideal, but to people like me who feed off the misery of others, it was a whole flock of birds rendered no more with just one stone. You could buy one of these amazing watches, and if it didn't become the crazy next thing, then, oh well, you'd still get most of what you paid back again. But I was so busy telling everyone about these things that I forgot to get one for myself. Well, maybe I forgot, or maybe I was too chicken shit to heed my own advice. Probably that one. Definitely that one. The net result is that I'm heading towards 40, and I'm short at least one Moser. And now what I said has come to fruition. The chance has long since been buried along with all those birds it turned out I completely missed, because I never threw the bloody stone in the first place. If you like that one, this one will really tickle you. Similar story, although we found ourselves down the road a little bit further on the route to success. In fact, you could say this watch brand was already a dead cert, with little to no risk on investment because the trajectory was already well on its way. Many of the brand's watches were already doing very, very well on the secondary market. Now, that's not the reason I like to buy watches. It's more a case of identifying ones that haven't picked up yet because I can still afford them. And if they do go up, well, the watch fund just got a bit bigger. Happy birthday to me. Now, this brand had an unusual little entry-level piece that wasn't as popular as the other precious metal complicated pieces. It was time only, a bit more colourful and sporty compared to the classic look of the rest of the collection, and its quirkiness made it a bit of a loner in the collection. Now, I would consider myself quirky and perhaps also a loner, so that watch appealed enormously. There was one for sale, and although it had depreciated heavily, it was still a very, very strong price for me. About £10,000. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Buying that watch would have rendered me so poor I could have only dreamt of eating beans off the back of a playing card. But it was such a cert. It was more obvious to me than if I'd got in a time machine, gone back to Los Altos in 1976 and been offered shares in Apple. I didn't do it though, and you're probably thinking, well, yeah, of course you didn't. It was 10 grand. I appreciate the reassurance. I really do. It wasn't an easy decision to make, but ultimately it was the sensible one. Although, you might react differently if I tell you what watch it was. The FP Journe Chronometre Bleu. Yeah. So as if breaking stuff and not buying stuff was bad enough, there's a big piece of advice I've been dishing out to people for years and years that I just, for whatever reason, chose not to follow myself until it was almost too late, really. If you didn't know, I created and run the Watchfinder YouTube channel and have enjoyed the highs and lows, ups and downs of that particular creation. It was a moment of rare clarity for me. That thing. Watchfinder, the business, wanted to communicate knowledge and choice and service and all that stuff, and I thought, well, if we show the watches, tell the stories, and do it on a regular basis, people will get all that without having it written in permanent marker on a Cumberland and jammed down their throats. And it worked. I got to talk about watches I enjoyed and share the things I discovered, and I got left alone to do it. Perfect. It felt like a new era of communication, something I truly believed in and felt added value in a way I'd not seen before. I was, and still am, very proud of that. I believed in it so much, I hassled and harangued anyone else in a position to do so to follow my lead. I'm a firm believer in people being able to watch more than one channel, and so I was happy to dish out the knowledge to get people on board with a crazy thing called YouTube. But I missed something. Something important. I didn't own the Watchfinder channel. I didn't own any channel. I should have created my own a long, long time ago, but For some stupid reason, I didn't think of it. It just plain didn't occur to me. With hindsight, I'd love to say I can now understand why, but I can't. I was just that short-sighted. And now I've got a lot of catching up to do. It's been amazing to see this channel grow, and I'm so thankful to each and every one of you for discovering me and coming along for the ride. And I also have to give a big thank you to Mr. Nico Leonard, who one day took me to one side and gave me the biggest kick up the arse I've ever had. Thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Lay bare your truths down in the comments and resist telling me I made the right decision on the Journe, because I didn't. You get one chance. One. Don't let it slip you by. Still here? Watch this video next.